There is a strange paradox at the heart of spiritual awakening. The more you see, the less you can say. The deeper you go, the quieter you must become. The more you understand about the true nature of reality, the more carefully you must guard what you know. And this is not because spiritual truths are secrets meant to be hoarded or because there is some exclusive club that wants to keep knowledge from the masses. It is because certain realizations, certain insights are so easily misunderstood, so easily weaponized against you, so easily distorted when spoken aloud, that silence becomes not just wisdom but necessity. If you have awakened, if you have begun to see through the veil of consensus reality, if you have touched something deeper than the surface game that most people are playing, then you have probably already learned this lesson the hard way. You have probably already made the mistake of sharing too much with the wrong people, of revealing your inner world to those who cannot comprehend it, of speaking your truth to ears that are not ready to hear. And you have probably paid the price for that openness in the form of judgment, rejection, pathologization, or worse. So let me share with you the 5 things you must never reveal if you are spiritually awake. Not because these things are shameful or wrong, but because revealing them to those who are not ready will only bring suffering to you while changing nothing for them. These are the sacred silences, the necessary concealments, the wise withholdings that protect both your journey and your sanity. Before we continue into this territory of sacred silence, if you recognize the wisdom in what I am saying, if you have already learned these lessons through painful experience, leave your like on this video. Subscribe to the channel for more teachings that most spiritual teachers won't share publicly. And in the comments tell me, what did you reveal too soon? What truth cost you when you spoke it? Share your story so others can learn. Now, let me reveal what must remain concealed. The first thing you must never reveal is the full extent of what you can see. When you awaken, when your perception expands beyond the ordinary, you begin to see patterns that others cannot see. You perceive the unconscious motivations driving people's behavior. You recognize the shadow material that others are projecting. You see through the social masks, the performative identities, the carefully constructed facades that people present to the world. You can sense the fear beneath the confidence, the emptiness beneath the busyness, the desperation beneath the success. And this sight is a gift. It allows you to navigate reality with clarity. It helps you avoid manipulation and deception. It enables you to respond to what is actually happening rather than to what people claim is happening. But if you reveal the full extent of what you see, if you tell people what you are actually perceiving, you will be seen as a threat. Because most people are deeply invested in their masks, their facades, their carefully maintained illusions. And when you demonstrate that you can see through these illusions, you become dangerous to them. Think about what happens when you point out someone's unconscious pattern, when you name the shadow they are projecting, when you reveal that you can see what they are trying to hide. Even if you do it gently, even if you do it with compassion, the response is almost always defensive, because you are threatening their sense of self, their carefully constructed identity, their need to believe they are who they think they are. And people will attack what threatens them. They will dismiss you as judgmental, critical, negative, too sensitive. They will invalidate your perception to protect their illusion. So the wisdom is to see everything but reveal very little, to let people believe you see only what they want you to see, to allow them their masks while you remain aware of what lies beneath. This is not dishonesty. This is discretion. This is understanding that your sight is for your benefit, not for imposing uncomfortable truths on those who are not asking for them. You can see clearly and still allow others their blindness. You can perceive deeply and still let others maintain their surface games. The awakened person sees but does not insist that others see. They know but do not need others to know that they know. The second thing you must never reveal is your spiritual experiences. This is perhaps the most difficult silence to maintain, because spiritual experiences are often profound, transformative, ecstatic. When you have touched something beyond the ordinary, when you have experienced states of consciousness that transcend the everyday self, when you have felt the direct presence of what some call God or the universe or pure awareness, there is a natural impulse to share it, to tell others about this extraordinary thing that has happened to you. But here is the problem. Spiritual experiences are completely subjective and utterly incommunicable. You cannot actually transfer the experience to someone else through words. All you can do is describe it, and the description is always inadequate, always a pale shadow of the actual experience. And when you try to describe it, when you try to put the ineffable into words, several dangerous things can happen. First, people who have not had similar experiences will think you are delusional, mentally unstable, having a psychotic break. They will worry about you, or worse, they will pathologize you. They will suggest therapy or medication. They will treat you as someone who has lost touch with reality rather than someone who has touched a deeper reality. And their concern, however well-intentioned, will invalidate your experience and make you doubt what you know to be true. Second, people who are spiritually ambitious, who are seeking experiences of their own, will either envy you or try to compete with you. They will minimize your experience by claiming they have had something similar or something better. Or they will pump you for details, trying to figure out how to manufacture such experiences for themselves. They will turn your sacred experience into a commodity, something to be acquired and displayed. Third, And perhaps most dangerous, people will use your experiences against you. They will remember what you shared, and later, when it serves them, they will weaponize it. They will tell others you are crazy, unstable, out of touch with reality. They will use your vulnerability, your openness, your willingness to share something sacred as evidence that you are not to be trusted, not to be taken seriously. So the wisdom is to keep your spiritual experiences to yourself, to hold them as sacred and private, to let them inform your life and transform your being without needing to broadcast them or prove them to others. The real spiritual experience does not need validation. It does not need an audience. It is complete in itself, and the more you try to share it, the more you diminish it. The more you subject it to the misunderstanding and judgment of those who were not there, who did not feel it, who cannot comprehend it. The third thing you must never reveal is how much you have changed. When you awaken, when you begin the deep work of transformation, you change in fundamental ways. Your values shift. Your priorities rearrange themselves. The things that once seemed important now appear trivial. The pursuits that once consumed you now feel empty. The relationships that once defined you now feel constraining. You become, in a very real sense, a different person inhabiting the same body, using the same name. Diego, the 17th of November 2025, 1320, and this transformation is beautiful. It is necessary. It is the whole point of awakening. But if you reveal the full extent of your transformation to people who knew you before, if you make it clear how different you have become, you will create several problems. First, people will feel judged by your change. Even if you say nothing about their choices, even if you make no comparisons, your transformation itself is an implicit judgment on the life you used to live, which is often very similar to the life they are still living. And they will take this personally. They will feel like your evolution is a criticism of their stagnation. Second, people will resist your transformation because it threatens their sense of stability. They want you to be who you were because that is familiar, predictable, safe. Your change introduces uncertainty into their world. If you can transform so completely, then maybe they should too. And most people do not want that invitation. They want to keep things as they are, to maintain the comfortable patterns, to avoid the hard work of genuine transformation. Third, people will not believe you have changed. They will continue to see you as who you were, to expect you to behave as you did before, to hold you to old patterns and old identities. And when you do not conform to their expectations, when you do not play the role they assigned you, they will be confused, frustrated, even angry. They will accuse you of being fake, of pretending to be someone you are not, of being on some temporary phase that will pass. So the wisdom is to let your transformation speak through your actions rather than your announcements, to simply be who you have become without declaring it, without explaining it, without trying to convince others that you are different. Those who are ready to see will see. Those who are ready to see what they expect to see. And that is fine. Your transformation is not for them to validate, it is for you to live. The fourth thing you must never reveal is your true level of detachment. As you awaken, as you see through the game, as you recognize the impermanence and ultimate emptiness of all forms, you naturally develop a certain detachment. Not the cold, uncaring detachment of someone who is shut down and defended, but the warm, spacious detachment of someone who loves deeply while gripping nothing. You can engage fully with life while remaining unattached to outcomes. You can care about people while not being consumed by the need to control or save them. You can participate in the world while knowing that it is all a passing show. This detachment is liberating. It allows you to love without fear, to engage without desperation, to live without the constant anxiety of loss. But if you reveal this detachment to others, if you show them how unattached you actually are, they will misunderstand it completely. They will think you do not care. They will accuse you of being cold, uncaring, emotionally unavailable. They will question your love, your commitment, your humanity. Because most people confuse attachment with love. They think that gripping tightly, worrying constantly, needing desperately is what love looks like. They think that suffering over the possibility of loss proves the depth of your care. And when you demonstrate that you can love without attachment, that you can care without clinging, that you can engage without being consumed, they feel threatened. They wonder if you really love them at all, if you are not suffering at the thought of losing them. Moreover, your detachment threatens the entire structure of emotional manipulation and control that many relationships are built on. So much of how people relate to each other involves using emotion, using attachment, using the threat of withdrawal to control behavior. And when you are genuinely detached, these manipulation tactics do not work on you. You cannot be controlled through guilt. You cannot be manipulated through fear of loss. You cannot be leveraged through emotional games. And people who are used to these patterns, rely on them to maintain their sense of control and security, will find your detachment deeply disturbing. So the wisdom is to never reveal the full extent of your detachment. Let people believe you are attached when it serves the relationship. Let them think their withdrawal would devastate you. Let them imagine you need them more than you do, not because you are being manipulative, but because their sense of security often depends on believing they have emotional leverage over you. And as long as you are acting with love and integrity, as long as you are honoring your commitments and treating people well, there is no need to disabuse them of this comforting illusion. The fifth and final thing you must never reveal is your freedom. This is the deepest secret, the most dangerous truth, the one that must be guarded most carefully. As you awaken, you realize that you are fundamentally free. Free to choose, free to change, free to walk away from anything that is not serving your highest truth. You are not trapped by your past, not bound by others' expectations, not imprisoned by social conventions or family obligations or cultural conditioning. You are a sovereign being with complete agency over your own life. This realization is the ultimate liberation. It is what all the spiritual teachings are pointing toward, but it is also the most threatening truth to everyone around you, because society, relationships, systems of all kinds depend on the belief that people are not free, that they are bound by duty, obligation, loyalty, commitment. The entire social fabric is woven from threads of mutual obligation and the belief that we must stay in roles we have been assigned, that we must fulfill expectations others have placed on us, that we must sacrifice our freedom for the sake of belonging and approval. When you realize you are free, when you really feel that freedom in your bones, you become unpredictable, you become uncontrollable, you become someone who might, at any moment, choose differently than expected. You might leave the career everyone thought you were committed to. You might end the relationship everyone thought was permanent. You might reject the life path everyone assumed you would follow. In this possibility, this fundamental freedom is terrifying to those who need you to be predictable, controllable, bound by the same chains they wear. If you reveal your freedom, if you show people that you are staying by choice rather than obligation, that you are here because you want to be rather than because you have to be, they will immediately start trying to bind you. They will remind you of your duties, your responsibilities, your commitments. They will invoke loyalty, obligation, debt. They will make you feel guilty for even acknowledging your freedom. They will tell you that good people do not think this way, that mature adults accept their chains gracefully, that only selfish, irresponsible people claim to be free. So the wisdom is to know your freedom intimately, to feel it deeply, to let it inform every choice you make, but to never speak it aloud. Let others believe you are bound by the same obligations they feel bound by. Let them think you stay because you must rather than because you choose. Let them imagine you are as trapped as they are. And in the privacy of your own consciousness, know that you are free, that you have always been free, that you will always be free, and that this freedom is the foundation of everything authentic you do. Diego, the 17th of November 2025, 13:20 now. Having shared these 5 things you must never reveal, let me be clear about what I am not saying. I am not advocating for dishonesty or manipulation or living a completely hidden life. I am not suggesting you should present a false self to the world or pretend to be someone you are not. What I am suggesting is discernment, discretion, wisdom about what to share and what to protect, understanding that not every truth needs to be spoken to every person in every moment. There is a time and a place for revealing these things. There are people who are ready to hear them, who can hold them, who will not weaponize them against you. There are relationships that can contain the fullness of your sight, your experiences, your transformation, your detachment, your freedom. But these relationships are rare. They must be cultivated carefully. They must be tested gradually. They must earn the right to hold your deepest truths. The general rule is this: reveal yourself slowly and watch carefully how what you reveal is received. If it is received with curiosity, respect, genuine interest, you can reveal a bit more. If it is received with judgment, dismissal, pathologization, you pull back and guard yourself more carefully. The awakened person is like a poker player who reveals their hand gradually, watching the other players, adjusting their strategy based on how the game is unfolding. And remember, the need to be fully seen and fully known by others often comes from the ego, from the part of you that is still seeking validation and approval. The truly awakened person does not need others to witness and validate their awakening. They are content to be a mystery, to let others see what they can see, to allow misunderstanding without needing to correct it, because they know who they are. They know what they have seen, they know what they have touched, and that knowing is complete in itself, requiring no external confirmation. The 5 things you must never reveal are not secrets in the sense of hidden knowledge that must be protected from the unworthy. They are simply aspects of your awakened state that are too easily misunderstood, too easily weaponized, too easily distorted when shared with those who are not ready. They are the sacred silences that protect your journey and allow you to continue awakening without constantly defending yourself against the projections and judgments of those who are still asleep. So guard what you see, keep your experiences private, let your transformation speak through your actions, conceal your detachment behind appropriate displays of attachment, and above all, never reveal the depth of your freedom. These silences are not weaknesses, they are not failures of authenticity, they are wisdom, they are discretion, they are the way of the awakened person who walks through a sleeping world with eyes wide open but mouth often closed. Because in the end, spiritual awakening is not about convincing others that you are awake. It is not about proving your experiences or displaying your transformation or demonstrating your freedom. It is about living from that awakened state, letting it inform every choice, every action, every response. It is about being the change rather than announcing it. It is about embodying the truth rather than defending it. And sometimes, often, That means remaining silent when every fiber of your being wants to speak. This is the way of wisdom. This is the path of the truly awakened. Not hidden, but not fully revealed. Not false, but not completely transparent. Present, but protected. Engaged, but guarded. Open where it serves, closed where it protects. This is how you navigate a world that is not ready for the fullness of what you have become, while continuing to honor and develop that fullness within yourself. Guard these 5 things carefully. Your awakening depends on it.